Hey guys, in today's video we are going to discuss the top 10 free market research tools you can start using today. I'm not paid for any of these endorsements that I'm going to give. It's my unbiased opinion based on my experience as a four-time entrepreneur, a product manager, and a researcher. So market research is something I have a lot of experience with, and I'm going to show you some of the tools you can use. I'll walk you through a demo so you guys don't have to go create a million free accounts. You can just kind of see what they look like and decide which ones you want. And I will build upon my knowledge throughout this video, so stay tuned because it's going to accumulate into a nice little graph for some recommendations based upon where you're at with your idea, your budget, anything like that. As always, I'm not going to try and upsell you guys at the end. There's not going to be any hidden information or a paywall. So all that I ask is that you show some support by liking this video, commenting below, and subscribing for more relevant content. Quick side note, if you are new to market research methodologies and you don't really know where to start, you might want to check out this other video that I did of how to conduct market research and then pop back over for some of the more in-depth reviews of the tools. And I also have at the end of this video a list of top 10 questions that I've used for user interviews, and I'd be happy to share that with you guys if you're interested. So stay tuned and let's jump right in. So the first place that you should start is social media. It's a really great way to find some customers and define your target audience. It obviously doesn't cost anything to join like Facebook or LinkedIn or even search on Reddit. And I'll walk you through some of the ways you can use these platforms to do market research. So to start with Facebook, when you log in, you can search up here for different groups. And I have the example that I want to go through with you guys, which is like credit card points as a software idea. I saw this in a newsletter and thought, maybe I'll use that as an example. So basically, a way that you can organize credit card points online to help people track their spending and see how far away they are from like a bonus or something like that. And so I'm going to use that as kind of the example for this market research. So you could come in here and search for credit card points on Facebook groups. And you'll see there's a bunch of stuff on here. Miles Talk, people that want like Sky Miles and stuff, referral links. And these have a lot of people. So 33,000 people, 26,000 people, 1,800. So I would start by joining a bunch of these groups and see what they're talking about. You can search the chat history and see if there's like common threads or pain points. And you can also even pose your own questions there. So LinkedIn, you can kind of do something similar. There are LinkedIn groups you can follow, but I like to look at like the LinkedIn articles on here. Some of those can have a lot of helpful information. LinkedIn has kind of this news base where people create their own articles, and so LinkedIn's kind of the hub where they're hosted. But I found that the research in these articles are usually pretty good and reliable. They have a lot of good market research statistics there. Usually they'll have like a quote or something, and you click on whatever statistic they're mentioning and it will link out to like the actual survey. So do that if you want to get granular. I don't always just trust articles at their word because statistics can be easily swayed one way or the other. But that's one way you can use LinkedIn. Another way is obviously posting to your feed. You could do like a survey that you put together to ask some market research questions, and you could ask it to your Facebook groups and your LinkedIn profile and see what kind of feedback you get. So for Reddit, there are a lot of different. Reddit is kind of a mess, in my opinion. So, but it is a really good place to find complaints. I guess that's a plus for Reddit. So you could come on here and search for something like credit card points, and you can just see what's out there. So this probably isn't a great search, but there's like point card, credit card points, 20 members, 70 members. I'm sure that if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll find some bigger groups. And I mean, you can post to multiple on there and search for what they might like. Like this guy's posting about probably something relevant to credit card points, and some of them will post like things they hate or frustrations. So it's a really great source, and I think underutilized source to get good ideas these days based on customer problems. So don't underestimate social media. Okay, so the next thing that I would use is Google Trends. Google Trends is free. It's super addicting in my opinion because it's just a software where you can go and see what people are searching for in the search volume. So here's Google Trends. You just type it in, Google Trends, and it'll pop up. And let's type in our prompt right here. So looks like there's kind of a lot, and it varies. And if you scroll down, you can see which states are searching for it the most. Rhode Island, who knew? Concerned about credit card points. Related topics down here, and you can click on these, and it should do a breakout with how much traffic there is over time. You can also click on trending now. It's probably going to have a lot of relevant stuff, for stuff that's come out recently. But that's a great tool. I always start with Google Trends and see, what's out there, and if my problem is unique to me or if there's a bunch of people that share it. The third option is to use the service Answer the Public. So you search based on keywords, but it displays results as like a question. So it can be helpful for stuff like I do sometimes for like YouTube prompts, but you can search based on Google or Bing or YouTube. And I have this prompt pulled up here. You enter it and you come down here and it will show you different questions that have been asked. So it tells you like the general cost per click to know how competitive these keywords are. So that's a pretty high number in my opinion. $9 per click is not the best opportunity. So you want to be creative with your keywords. But you come down here, and when it gets like to the darker orange, those are the hotter ticket items, the more frequently asked questions, and the lighter color are infrequently asked questions. So don't just go to the ones that everyone's asking, because they're obviously going to be more competitive. And good business sense 101 is finding your niche and being specific on that. Make it for one customer and then build out as you go. So that would be my 2 cents on that. But if you scroll down, it has all kinds of different ways of asking the question. This can also be really good help as you're putting together like a survey to ask participants. You can maybe use some of these points to use in your survey and gauge interest, because you want to kind of get at the emotion of what your participants are feeling. And if they have been searching Google for these keywords and have not had a satisfactory result, it's going to make them have a better response to your survey, or a more honest response. So it's a great place for a lot of reasons. The next resource you can use for market research is AI. I have in here ChatGPT, but you can also use Google Gemini or Microsoft's, or there's a bunch of others out there. So in ChatGPT or another AI platform, it's not going to do market research for you. It's not going to know your population and your target audience and all these different things. But what it can do is a competitor analysis. So I entered in here, conduct a competitor analysis for a software company that tracks credit card points in one place so people can easily maximize their credit rewards. And if you click enter here, it's going to write out a competitor analysis. Okay, so here's the direct competitors, is Max Rewards. Here are some of their strengths and their weaknesses. Points Hub is out there. So it looks like there are some people that are considered competitors. Mint is on here. I don't know how much Mint is a competitor or not, but it's really helpful, and you can't beat how convenient and fast it is. So use that once you get a little better idea about who your target audience is, maybe what you want to solve, and then you can come here and ask for a competitor analysis. And obviously AI is still learning and growing, so I wouldn't take this to an investor and say, hey, I've done my research. I would back this up and make sure you double check everything. I've done that, and I found that there are some pretty big gaps between what AI says and what I found to be actually the case. Another tool you can use for market research is called Earlybird. They are a newer company. I found them on Product Hunt, and I'm a big fan. So what they do is landing page testing. So you create a landing page, they make it really fast. You use AI to kind of tell what your business would do and who you would serve. It spits out a website. You tweak it a little bit, the headlines and the description, images, things like that, and then you launch. And it has some analysis features in there. They have a free plan where you can kind of test out the software and see, and then they have really well-priced tiers above that. I think the next tier is like $4 a month. So Earlybird is a great resource. I've used them. I've had a great experience. So here's what it looks like when you log into the Earlybird account. You have your dashboard here. It tells you page visitors, bounce rate, duration, stuff like that. Kind of similar to Hotjar, some web analytics going on. And up here you can create a landing page. It looks like actually the landing page you only get one if you're on the starter plan or the free plan and the starter, and they limit the amount of visitors that you can get. Let me go there to show you. So one landing page for the free version and the starter, but if you do $12 a month you can get 5 landing pages. But I believe if you want to just try them out, I mean, try the free version if you have just an idea, and I believe you can delete that website and then just start from scratch. It just won't let you save your work if you want to just try another idea there before going to the paid version. So like I say, I've used it. It's a new tool for me, so I haven't done a ton with it, but there's nothing else really like it out there so far. There's landing page. You have to build your own landing page from like a different website tool that's just not as quick and fast and built for this purpose. So Earlybird is really built with the purpose in mind to do market research and landing page tests. So that's why I recommend that. Okay, the next thing is Airgram. So Airgram, I went there today and it looks like they are merging with Noda. So I put Noda on here as well. But what they do is like a screen recording tool for Google Meets and I think Zoom and others. But I've used them. I've really liked it. It's a free tool that you install on your browser, and then when you have a Google meeting, you can click to record. So if you have a customer interview, for example, this is like hot money. You record your interview with them, and it will automatically transcribe the conversation, and it will know like when you're speaking versus your customer. And it's just pure gold to have a customer interview recorded that you go into depth about what the problem is and what they experience. Because if you have these recorded meetings and you need to pivot down the line, you can go back and watch these videos and maybe pick out different things the customer said that you maybe missed the first time because you had one idea in your mind. So here's what Airgram looks like when you log in. You have your dashboard that just shows your recent recordings you can click on and watch. You have library. There's a scheduler tool on here that you can use to find customer interviews and schedule those with people. And again, on all those recordings, you can have like a transcript that you can view. You click on that and it will show you the summary and all kinds of details about it. So super helpful to go back and look at old conversations that you've had. And I just want to do a quick call out. If you guys made it this far in the video and you're finding some value, please click that like button and comment below with any thoughts or feedback. I'd love to hear from you, and it really helps me out. Thanks. The next tool you can use for market research is Google Ads. It can get pricey, but there's also a free option to kind of do some keyword research. So you go into your Google Ads account, and it's a bit messy. Google Ads can be a little bit complex and intimidating. It's really geared towards marketers, I feel like. But it doesn't take too long to learn, and there's a lot of value in it. So once you create an account, you're going to go through a bunch of questions for Google to ask you about your business that you don't even have yet. Once you kind of make it through those hurdles, you can click on this keyword planner tool up here under Tools, Keyword Planner, and click on Discover New Keywords. So let's type in here our credit card points, and we're just going to go with that for now and see what it comes up with. The Ask the People tool said it was like $9 per keyword. This is saying the top bid high range is 15, so 9's probably a good estimate if it's between 245 and 1511. So average monthly searches is 1,000 to 10,000. Here's just some related keywords down here, and broaden your search. You can go up there. And you can click these and you can add them to a list of your keywords that you want to look into a little bit more. And there are other keyword tools out there. SEMrush is a really popular one. There's a bunch. I don't remember all off the top of my head, but I've used Google Keywords. It's really good stab to see how much you would pay for a particular keyword, which is kind of translates to how much demand there is in that market. If you don't want to learn Google Ads, or you just want to get people to your page, Facebook ads is a great option. So you come in here, Facebook makes it pretty easy. It says, what do you want to do? Do you want to drive awareness? Do you want traffic to your site? Do you want engagement? We're just going to say for our purpose, we want traffic. We want people to hit our page. Let's say we're doing that landing page test. And so let's just use their recommended settings. and you go through it, and it will ask you a few more questions. So you name your campaign. You can put it to a different category. You even have an A/B test option down here where you can test different types of ads to see which one gets more traction. Highly recommend it. If you're just starting out, that might be a bit much for you. But once you kind of have some interest in your product, it's really helpful to do A/B testing. And I have another tool that I'll go through with that as well. But great tool to use. Doesn't cost a lot of money. Will cost some, but I think it's worth the investment. Number 9 is Qualtrics. They are the most expensive option on my list. So Qualtrics does everything surveys. It's like SurveyMonkey, but I really prefer Qualtrics. I think that they just have more capability. They have more industry knowledge. I think their tool is easier to use. I used them a lot in college, and haven't gone back since I had a free account back then, and I don't now. But I talked to a guy just the other week about Qualtrics, and he was telling me that they do entrepreneurship research for business ideas. They work with a lot of product managers too. If you need to do some research and you have a bigger budget, expect to spend probably close to $10,000 to do a really good research, and that's like 1,000 participants, bunch of questions, and your participant group is very narrow. If you want to use them for just a general survey, like a general population survey, you can get it done for about $1,000 to $2,000. But again, that's not going to be like specific to the type of customer that you want. It's going to be kind of broad. So that's an option as well. And they kind of do all the legwork. You might provide, here's who you're trying to survey, here's what you want to do, the types of questions you want to ask, but they really take it from there. So if you have money and you don't have time, use Qualtrics. I highly recommend it. You'll get a great result and a really good value. I wouldn't say bang for your buck just because I'm a fan of doing it myself and owning the process, but very convenient tool and very reliable. If you want to use a free option, you can always go to Google Forms. If you haven't used Google Forms, if you have a Gmail account, it's part of your core set. So there's like the little 9-box square. You click on that, you scroll down, you'll find your Google Forms, and it will take you here, and you can build a basic form. So if we want like a template, we can say, hey, let's make a contact form, and you can ask some survey questions on here. And your research that you do, you'll want to take more time writing the right questions than anything else. You don't want to bias your audience or bias your answers to kind of get the information you want or don't want. And so I have a few tips that I'll share with you, and I have a free template to download that has like 10 questions that I've really liked for research. So stay tuned. I'll talk about that at the end. But Google Forms, super easy to use. Doesn't give you very many options once you have the research. It kind of displays it in aggregate. You can't really break out responses very easily. So, you take it with a grain of salt. But for the money, it's free. So I would use it as a first step. Okay, so number 10 and the last one on my list is Hotjar. Hotjar is like a web analytics tool. It is really powerful and it can do a lot. So with Hotjar, you can do things like see when people come to your website, but you can also see their session. So it will record like their mouse and where they went. Did they click on this video? Did they scroll down? Did they scroll right past your clients? They just didn't care. And do they come down and which buttons do they click? It'll give you heat maps on where are they looking the most, where are they not. And it's not like implanting cameras in there and they're like watching you, right? But it's just using kind of their mouse and see where I'm moving right here. That's actually how the heat map works. So wherever you move is going to be where your interest is. They have a free option, but they're kind of stingy with their free option. They get you in there and they give you like 10 free sessions on your website where you can ask a survey that pops up, or you can do a heat map, or you can just do a screen recording and see where people are going. But once you reach that 10, you can't access your free recordings until you select a paid version. So not my favorite that they do that, especially for small entrepreneurs that are just starting out. But it is a very impressive tool and does a lot for market research when you can't necessarily get in front of every customer yourself. Okay, so here's what Hotjar looks like once you're logged in. So you have your home page and then your dashboard right here where I'm at. And this is what appears after you've connected some analytics to your website. So there's different features over here. You can connect like a funnel page, a recording where it shows the interactions when someone lands on your page. What is their mouse doing? Where are they scrolling? And heat maps is what I showed you, where it kind of shows where the interest is on your site. You can have a feedback survey that pops up. There's like a pop-up that says, rate your experience? It has like emojis or whatnot, or questions. Then you have a survey option that you can embed on your page, as well as an interview option. So the interview option, I've tried that as well and didn't have a great experience. There's a free version where they give you like one customer and you describe what customer you want, like being very specific with like their age and demographic and any type of information that you want, like income level, education. And then you ask them questions about your brand and maybe to visit your website and, see what they think. But I did that. I never heard anything back. I spent half hour setting it up and then I heard nothing. And so I think you can pay, I think it was like $30 per interview. I remember it was a little bit pricey, but if you have some money to spend, I think it's really helpful because they really get you the right customer that you're trying to survey. And you can even pair that with, your landing page test and see what those interviews think about your product. So it can be a really good duo if you have some money to do like the landing page, Google Ads, and Hotjar. You'll get a really good feel for what people are thinking about your brand and your solution. Okay, so now that we've gone through a demo of the top 10 market research tools, I thought it would be helpful to categorize them on this XY chart to help you understand what they are grouped as and maybe where you can start. So on the y-axis, I have costs. So lower cost items up to higher cost on the top. And on the x-axis is sample size. So there's going to be lower sample size options on the left to higher on the right. So if you're just starting out, it's probably helpful to start at the bottom left. You're not going to have too many resources at your disposal. But if you want to spend a little bit more money and you're coming at this with, maybe a bigger investment, jumping to the top right might be a good place to start as well. So here's another way to view the different market research tools that I've discussed. If you're just starting out, I would recommend following a similar progression and using multiple, if not all of these tools to get an understanding about what your target market says. A good place to start is Google. Understanding Google Trends and searching for similar problems and solutions that might be out there. You might even go to social media and Reddit and see who's complaining about the same type of problems or what kind of opportunities out there that are already solving those problems. Relying on something like Ask the Public is a great place to formulate some questions and use that to help inform your survey. You can do a Google Forms survey for free where you can go back to your social media connections and ask them to participate in your survey and give you an initial idea about what might be happening with your target audience and what opportunities there are. The next thing you can do is leverage AI, ChatGPT, Google Gemini, and others, and you can ask them for a competitive analysis report. Go back to the prompt if you need a recap on what that looks like. Again, it can't do market research for you, but it can provide a competitor analysis once you've started to solidify the idea that you're working on. The next thing I would do is use something like Airgram or Noda and record customer interviews and interactions so that you can go back and reference them. If you need to pivot, you can have a detailed recording of what they say the problem is. And I've got some great questions to ask if you guys stick around for just a little longer. It's a free downloadable template to help you get started on some qualitative research. The next thing I would consider as you're going down the line for market research is building a landing page. So that's a great idea if you have maybe designs for a digital product or a service, or even if you have like a physical product and you have some like rough renderings, it could be a great option for that as well. And if you have a few dollars to invest, I would say probably like a couple $100, you could pair your landing page test with Earlybird with some Google AdWords, maybe some Facebook ads, and then a Hotjar subscription. So that way you have a landing page that is up, but you also have ads that are bringing people to it. So you don't have to wait, a year to get your organic ranking up. You're having people come to your website. And then with Hotjar, you're using their tools to see where people are getting stuck on your page, where they're clicking, You can even ask some surveys and polls and even do some customer interviews through Hotjar as well, again, for a little bit higher price point. And if you want, a fully managed service, Qualtrics is my preferred option. They have a really robust process. They offer a free tool as well. You can use their survey tool. But if you want to kind of bypass all this other stuff for market research, check out Qualtrics. Okay, you guys made it to the end. Bonus tip time. So the first bonus tip is size does matter. Sample size, that is. So statistically speaking, you need at least 30 people to have a reflective survey of a population. Some statisticians get a little bit uncomfortable with that number, and they really feel like 100 is the bare minimum of people you can have. Statistically, I think technically the number is like 32 people in a population to make inferences about a particular group. So if you have fewer than 30, really don't put a lot of weight behind it. You could, get some great opinions and maybe get a gut reaction, but you really want to hit that threshold before you start making decisions. 100 is really the threshold that you want to get at before you start making large investments, would be my recommendation. And the next tip I would say is don't bias your own results. It's somewhat easy to get people to say what you want them to say. So don't use any of your relationship sorcery that you've practiced guiding your spouse or significant other towards a thought, or to make them think that they came up with their own thought. You know what I mean. But really, you don't want to ask leading questions. You want this to be very exploratory, especially in the customer interviews. Avoid things like, are you so frustrated that you can't X, this? Like in our example, we used the credit card points system. So you wouldn't say, have you ever been frustrated that there's not a way to organize your credit card points in one place? Like, duh. What you would say instead is something like, tell me about your experience with credit card points. Do you have a system to manage those points? How would you go about it? The most leading question you might ask is, what inconveniences, if any, has not having a place to manage your credit card points caused you? Something like that. I have a whole bunch of questions that we spent a lot of time perfecting. And I say we from my experience as a product manager, a published researcher, if you can believe it, in my schooling in undergrad, and through Intuit's Design for Delight Innovator Academy. So they have a whole course on this stuff for design thinking. If you want to check that out, it's Design for Delight Innovator, and I can put a link in the description below. So if you guys would like to have a copy of those top 10 questions, it is a free download. Just head over to keithsley.com. This website does change a lot, so if it doesn't look the same, I apologize. But there should be on there some free resources and a way for you to subscribe. And then once you subscribe, it'll be sent to you. But there's also an option on there to do a free 30-minute coaching call. This is something where you can discuss anything that you want with me. So it can be market research, product management, entrepreneurship, or any of the topics that I cover. I'm not sure, again, how long I can offer that, but for now it's first come, first serve, and I'd love to help you guys out in any way that I can. So that's all for today's video. I hope you guys found some value, and if you did, please click that like button and subscribe for more relevant content. And I'd also love to hear from you guys. If you wouldn't mind just dropping a comment and just, tell me how you like the video, if you have any questions or feedback. It really helps me out. Thanks. Bye-bye.